Welcome to EdTech Spark, everyone. What's going on in the world of EdTech? Buckle up because it's another wild week.
Hey everyone, glad to be here. And you're right, it always feels like a whirlwind. There's never a dull moment, is there?
Never. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes. Speaking of fire hoses, Monica Burns over at Class Tech Tips has a great podcast, Easy EdTech. She was talking about her week of travel and what she learned about AI in education.
Oh, I saw that one pop up. I haven't had a chance to listen yet, but I know she's been diving deep into AI. What were some of the key takeaways that resonated with you?
A few things really stuck out. She mentioned using small workflow features like Gemini's export to Google Docs to streamline AI use, which I mean that's huge for saving teachers time. We're always talking about teacher workload, and anything that can shave off a few minutes here and there.
Definitely, that makes sense. It's not always about these grand, sweeping changes, but the small, practical integrations that make a real difference in their day-to-day.
Exactly. And she also talked about exploring how AI tools can support both classroom learning and family digital safety. That's a really important angle, especially when we're dealing with younger students. It's not just about using the tech, but about using it safely and responsibly.
Yeah, that digital safety piece is so critical. It's something that needs to be taught explicitly, not just assumed. I wonder how many schools are really incorporating that into their curriculum.
Probably not enough, honestly. And it's not just about blocking websites or monitoring activity. It's about teaching kids how to think critically about what they're seeing online, how to protect their privacy, and how to avoid scams and misinformation. But the point that I liked most was about teaching students how to cite AI-generated content to promote responsible use. How amazing is that?
That's smart. Treating AI as a source that needs to be cited. It normalizes the technology, but also encourages critical evaluation of the content that's produced, right?
Precisely. It's not about demonizing AI, but about teaching kids to be smart consumers of information, regardless of where it comes from. Verifying it, looking for bias.
It's about building those critical thinking muscles. And that ties in nicely with another piece I saw about activities for teaching students about AI chatbots. Things like comparing chatbot responses to traditional keyword searches, fact-checking the responses, and rewriting prompts to refine the outcomes.
Oh, I love that. It's like turning AI into a learning tool in itself. You're not just using it to get answers, you're using it to learn about how it works, what its limitations are, and how to get the most out of it. This is the way. I think more teachers should be open to it.
Right. And by having students actively engage with the technology, they're developing a deeper understanding than if they were just passively receiving information from it. I think that comparison with traditional searches is key. It highlights the differences and nuances, forcing students to think about the algorithms at play.
Exactly. It's about understanding the why behind the answer, not just the answer itself. And that's what education is all about. It's a process of teaching critical thought.
Yes, and it's not just relevant for AI. Those are skills that translate to everything: evaluating sources, forming arguments, problem solving. It's all connected.
Absolutely. It's about fostering a mindset of inquiry and skepticism. And the best part is these activities don't require a ton of fancy equipment or specialized training. Any teacher can incorporate them into their existing curriculum.
Which is crucial, because the barrier to entry with some of these technologies can be intimidating for teachers. If it seems too complex or time-consuming, they're just not going to use it.
Right? You have to meet them where they are. And that's why I like that Monica Burns focuses on the practical and the actionable. Small steps, big impact. I'm thinking of creating some of those for all EdTech.
That's a great idea. I think breaking down complex technologies into manageable chunks is essential for adoption.
Now, switching gears a bit, I saw a story about some pretty serious allegations against CheoPub, a well-known innovation hub in Nigeria, regarding their MasterCard EdTech fellowship. This is more on the admin side of EdTech, how the actual EdTech products get funding.
Oh yeah, I glanced at that. Something about bias and favoritism? That's concerning?
Yeah, the Coalition for Transparent Innovation, CTI, is accusing the program of undermining merit-based selection and misusing public accolades to justify some questionable decisions. They're saying that some participants were admitted not on merit, but because of personal connections to CheoPub's founder, who incidentally is also Nigeria's current Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. So that's not a good look.
No, it definitely isn't. Especially when you're talking about a fellowship that's supposed to be supporting grassroots innovators. It defeats the whole purpose if it's just rewarding those who are already well connected.
Exactly, and they're alleging that innovators working on underserved language inclusion and access initiatives were systematically overlooked, despite having strong applications. That's just heartbreaking. The whole point of EdTech is to equalize education. If we're not giving opportunities to those that need it, what are we doing?
It goes against the very principles, doesn't it? And it erodes trust in these programs. If people feel like the system is rigged, they're not going to bother applying, and you lose out on potentially game-changing ideas.
And it's not just about the selection process. CTI is also alleging a misrepresentation of a U.S. federal grant. Apparently, in Canada, Nigerian language learning app claimed to have secured a seven-figure National Science Foundation award. But CTI says that the award was actually granted to a U.S. registered company that operates the app, and that in Canada is a Nigerian entity wouldn't have been eligible to receive it directly.
So they're essentially inflating their success by taking credit for something they didn't actually achieve. That's pretty serious. It speaks to a culture of prioritizing appearances over substance, doesn't it?
It does, and it's a dangerous game to play because eventually the truth comes out, and then you've damaged your credibility beyond repair. CTI is calling for an independent audit of the MasterCard EdTech Fellowship selection process and fund disbursement. They want full disclosure of the scoring framework, publication of reviewer identities, and whistleblower protections.
Those all seem like reasonable requests. Transparency is absolutely essential in these kinds of initiatives. You need to have clear, objective criteria, and you need to be able to demonstrate that the process is fair and impartial.
Agreed. And it's not just about this one fellowship. CTI warns that unless these issues are addressed, public trust in donor-funded innovation pipelines could erode, and the very communities these programs claim to serve will continue to be left behind. You know, the people we are trying to reach are being left behind.
It's a really important point because these programs are often funded by public money or philanthropic donations, and there's an expectation that they're being used effectively and ethically. If that trust is broken, it's going to be harder to attract future investment and support.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money, it's about the impact. If these programs are being hijacked by people with the right connections, then the resources aren't going to the innovators who are truly making a difference on the ground. How can we make sure the money reaches the correct hands?
Right. It's about ensuring that the people who are closest to the problems are the ones who are empowered to solve them. And that requires a level playing field.
Well said. It's a reminder that EdTech isn't just about the technology itself, it's about the ecosystem that supports it. And that ecosystem needs to be built on a foundation of transparency, fairness, and accountability. I hope that CTI's call for investigation and reform is taken seriously. This is very serious.
Me too. It's a crucial moment for Africa's innovation ecosystem, and it's important that these issues are addressed head on.
Okay, shifting gears again, let's talk about something a little more positive. UWorld College Readiness sponsored an episode on Class Tech Tips about using EdTech to set AP students up for success.
UWorld. They're pretty well known for their test prep resources. What were the key takeaways from that episode?
Well, they emphasized that academic confidence is foundational for AP success, which makes sense. Early intervention helps struggling AP students thrive, and differentiation matters, even in AP classrooms. Differentiation is key.
Yeah, those are all important points, especially the differentiation piece. I think sometimes there's a misconception that AP classes are just for the high achievers and that everyone should be on the same page. But the reality is, students come in with different levels of preparation and different learning styles, and you need to be able to meet them where they are.
Absolutely. And EdTech can be a powerful tool for differentiation. It can allow you to provide personalized learning experiences, track student progress, and identify areas where they're struggling. It can bring all those metrics into a place so that we know.
Right. Adaptive learning platforms, for example, can adjust the difficulty of the material based on a student's performance. Or you can use EdTech tools to create different versions of assignments or activities to cater to different learning styles.
Exactly. And UWorld in particular is known for its rigorous practice questions and effective exam prep. So it can be a valuable resource for students who are looking to build their confidence and master the content.
Yeah, I've heard good things about their practice materials. It's all about providing students with opportunities to apply what they've learned and get feedback on their performance. Testing it in low stakes environments. It's testing and iterating.
But the most important point, I think, is that instructional tech should enhance, not replace, teaching. It's a tool to be used strategically, not a crutch to be relied upon.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you integrate technology in a way that actually improves student outcomes rather than just adding another layer of complexity? I'm always looking for the answer.
Well, it starts with having clear learning objectives and then choosing the right tools to help you achieve those objectives. And it requires ongoing professional development for teachers so they know how to use the technology effectively. Teacher training is key.
Definitely. And it's not just about the technical skills, it's about the pedagogical skills, how to design engaging lessons, how to facilitate meaningful discussions, how to provide effective feedback. The pedagogy should always come first, and the technology should support it.
Agreed. And it's about creating a classroom culture where technology is seen as a tool for learning, not just a distraction. It's about being intentional.
Yeah, and that requires a shift in mindset, both for teachers and students. It's about moving away from the idea that technology is just for entertainment and recognizing its potential to transform learning.
Well said. Okay, one more piece of news before we wrap up. This one's a bit of a downer, but it's important to talk about. It's about BYJU'S-owned US EdTech firms being sold at knockdown prices.
Oh, I saw that. Tinker and Epic, right? What a mess.
A complete mess. Tinker was acquired by Cody HS for $2.2 million, which is almost a 99% reduction from the $200 million that BYJU's paid for it back in 2021. And Epic was bought by Tal Education Group for $95 million, which is an 81% discount from the $500 million that BYJU shelled out for it. So they are going down for very cheap.
Those are staggering losses. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of rapid expansion and unsustainable business models. Like, what were they thinking spending that much money?
Well, they were on an acquisition spree in 2021, buying up all sorts of EdTech companies. They cited product line and user base expansions as the reasons behind these acquisitions. But it seems like they didn't do their due diligence and ended up overpaying for these companies.
Yeah, it sounds like they were prioritizing growth over profitability, which is never a good strategy in the long run, especially when you're dealing with other people's money.
Exactly, and the fire sales were part of BYJU's bankruptcy process in the US, which involved an unpaid term loan of $1.2 billion. They had made fraudulent transfers of $533 million to a camshaft fund, and the US bankruptcy court ruled in favor of the lenders. It's a whole saga of mismanagement and financial recklessness.
It's a reminder that EdTech, like any other industry, is subject to the same economic forces. You can't just throw money at a problem and expect it to solve itself. You need to have a solid business plan, a sustainable revenue model, and a clear understanding of your target market.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that EdTech companies have a responsibility to their investors, their employees, and their users. They need to be transparent, ethical, and accountable in their operations. It's a business after all. Don't lose track of where you are.
Yes, and the focus should always be on creating genuine educational value, not just acquiring market share through aggressive fundraising. I think that's where BYJU's went wrong. They got caught up in the hype and lost sight of their core mission.
Well said. It's a cautionary tale for the entire EdTech industry. We need to learn from BYJU's mistakes and build a more sustainable and ethical ecosystem for the future. It's not about how big you can get, it's about how much you can help.
Agreed. It's about prioritizing student outcomes over financial gains, and about creating a system that benefits everyone, not just a select few. EdTech has a huge potential. Let's not waste that.
Well, that's all the news we have for today. Thanks for tuning into EdTech Spark. It's a crazy world, but as always, we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Until next time, keep sparking those EdTech ideas.